everybody's talking about how AI will take people away, and you're an AI company and saying I'm a people business.
We were in the AI space before the Gen AI became a cool thing.
It sounds like Apple before Apple became Apple.
Eligare is my legacy.
That's a vision statement to go for, right?
Strongest direction is our sharp focus on one particular industry.
So a big focus on keeping the team fairly lean.
I wanted to build a business which is cash positive from day one. AI is not a size fits all magic potion.
What are some of the things that you wish someone would build?
Last year, Gen AI became a buzzword. They say it became a boardroom discussion, and now it has become a boardroom decision.
I would like to start from the very end, which is to say, tell me more about Eligare. I've heard of it. I've seen the website, but I would like to hear your version of it.
Okay. So Eligare is a company that we started building about 4 years ago. And there have been a couple of pivots, of course, like in any startup journey. And right now, I would say that our vision is to be the dominant player in AI solutions for automotive and manufacturing industries, frontline teams.
Awesome. That's a vision statement to go for, right? Not only does it tell you what you will do, but it also specifies which industries, which most founders miss. So that's so great. I love that.
Yeah.
And if I was to go back in history now, I mean, you and I have known each other for so long, and I don't think the question ever was what if you will build. It was always what all you will build. We started with an export company, then you went into ICICI, then there was Thomson Reuters, and another MBA in the middle. There was a book somewhere, I remember. Does Eligare feel like home now?
Yeah, I think Eligare is my legacy. So this is one organization that I want to build, which I will be remembered by. Yeah, as you rightly mentioned, there's been a journey of entrepreneurship and large corporates. I'm a 3x founder now. At the same time, I've also worked with large MNCs like Bank of America, Thomson Reuters, ICICI Bank. Um, so throughout all of those journeys, I think at each point in time, I did feel myself connected with wherever I was at that point in time. But right now, I think in Eligare is that one single venture and organization that I would like to be remembered by as my legacy.
What makes it different?
Firstly, I think this is a culmination of a lot of learning that I've had till date, both as an entrepreneur and as a large enterprise manager. Secondly, I think right now, Eligare is at one interesting, lucky window of opportunity in history where the external elements have lined up to, put sail in our, put wind in our sails. We were in the AI space before the Gen AI, buzzword became a cool thing. So we were already getting the steam on that direction. And last year, when Gen AI became mainstream, we had already gained the right kind of traction and the team and insights to really speed it up. So I think this is one space in time where we are now very well placed to make it a global success. I'm really excited about it. I have just the right team members and co-founders to take it forward. So overall, I think keeping all of these things in mind, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah. It sounds like Apple before Apple became Apple. So I mean, too many apples in there, but you know what I mean. It feels like the point where we are, and very rightly you said. Like I remember we had a conversation a few years ago when you were telling me about what Eligare does, and Gen AI or ChatGPT and everything was so unthought of for someone like me who's not from a tech background that I couldn't connect the dots. But within AI also, you have actually decided to go specifically into the B2B or the enterprise model and not go towards the B2C offerings. What was the thought there?
I mean, everybody has their own strengths and interests. I wanted to build a business which is cash positive from day one. And that is practically impossible in B2C. So that scares me. So, the business model that we built in Eligare was to have each deal be a cash positive deal from the very start. So we started dealing with within B2B also only large enterprises.
Hmm.
So we're working with the largest of enterprises like Bajaj Auto, Maruti Suzuki, or in financial institutions we worked with the likes of Angel One, etc.,
Hmm.
and Kotak Bank. But over a period of time, as we've started focusing more and more, as right now it's automotive and manufacturing, but within this we're dealing with only, I would say, top 100 companies
Hmm.
in globally. And my thought was that if we were to be a cash positive company, then we would need to go deep with a few certain selected clients,
Hmm.
understand that domain really well, and then work in that. So I think it was a matter of, some part of it was a conscious choice, as in we want to make it a cash positive company rather than be dependent on investor capital. And
Yeah.
then some part of it was also destiny, as in we got early breaks in one particular industry domain. And as that
Hmm.
happened, we learned it well gradually. And then that became our core strength, and we got more clients in the same space.
Got it. Got it. And I think I remember you telling me that there was always also a big focus on keeping the team fairly lean, like having a
Yeah.
few team members who are very, very good at what they do, and then just keeping your costs low as much as possible.
Yeah. And it's also to do with maintaining a work culture, at least as far as we can,
Hmm.
perhaps at one point in time. And to an extent, we are right now in that change transition where we were a very small team of everybody acting like a co-founder and everybody multitasking.
Hmm.
But I think we've reached a stage where now we have a lot of work,
Hmm.
and fulfilling that or executing on that now requires us to structure the team into certain specialty areas, whether it is core capability building, which is R&D, or productization or deployment, and then go to market separate, product management separate. All of this is a capability that we need to start developing now. So
Hmm.
there are those stages in our organization's evolution. I think we have reached that stage now where we need to start creating some structures, and that would probably need the team size to grow a little bit more.
Hmm. Okay, so now I have two questions in this. The first thing that you mentioned was culture, and the second thing that you mentioned was co-founders being, oh, sorry, teammates almost acting as a co-founders. Now, the thought that comes to my mind listening to that is that obviously team members who have been given the privilege to work as co-founders, when you start creating these structures and hierarchies, some might go down and some might.
Hmm.
How do you handle that?
Yeah. So, I think anyways, the size of the pie is increasing. So it's a bigger
Hmm.
pie in any case, right? So
Hmm.
that takes care of part of it. But when the work was less,
Hmm.
multi-hatting is something that people enjoy. But when
Hmm.
the work becomes a lot, then multi-hatting becomes a constraint for people themselves. So the context switching between A and B and C all the time becomes a strain on everybody's capability as well. So now that we know who's strong and, well, who's strong and also who has more interest in which area, we're trying to
Hmm.
put those things together and create those structures in place.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. And
Yeah.
since you've not had investor pressure to work any specific way, I think you've had the luxury to kind of
Yeah.
build it the way you want to. Now,
Yeah.
I wanted to go back to the other part of culture, which is, I've always seen you as someone who has also, while building something this fantastic, has also pursued a lot of personal interests. There was martial arts. I think you played for India. You won some medal for
Yes.
India.
Yes.
Yeah,
In the US Open.
in the US Open. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And I know your love for horses. How does that aspect of your, or how do those passions shape how you see leadership, risk, resolution? I mean, does it help?
I think, at least to me, it helped a lot because, in sports, one thing you realize is there are no excuses.
Hmm.
Whether you win or you lose, it's all up to you.
Hmm.
You can't say that, the weather was not fine that day or whatever, right? So even if you're not feeling up to it, if your competition is today, you have to go and, stand up over there. It builds a lot of mental strength. To give an example, when you are in a karate competition or an MMA competition,
Hmm.
especially at national or international level, and you are up against someone who's maybe stronger or better than you, then you are laser sharp focused on, you know, uh,
Just getting
trying to win or
yeah.
at least finish the round without getting hurt. At that point in time, mental exhaustion or distraction, there is no scope for that. You really laser sharp focus on something. Similarly, in equestrian sports, where I do show jumping in horses, there's a 500 kg a horse under you and it's galloping and there is a obstacle which looks almost impossible to cross.
Mm.
So you have to somehow prod the horse to cross. At that point in time, and horse senses you. It senses your mental state 10x. So
Mm.
unless you are fully convinced and ready to go, the horse won't. And if it
Yeah.
stops, then both of you get hurt. So the point being that sports like these give you the kind of ability to be razor sharp focused on a problem.
Mm.
And as you know, an entrepreneur's life is full of extreme highs and extreme lows, and
Yeah.
often on the same day. So when
Yeah.
you are multitasking, you have to be focused on solving some complex problems without being distracted by 10 other things that are going on. And I think my having experienced those kinds of extremes in sports,
Mm.
I find it easier for myself to solve these kinds of issues as well without getting unduly affected by pressure.
Yeah. Sounds like compartmentalization and focus both at the same time, right? So your
Yeah.
productivity goes higher because you're able to compartmentalize.
Yeah.
And if you were to bring that focus and attention back to what we are doing in within enterprise AI, what do you think is the strongest differentiation for someone right now, and what would be the weakest link?
So I think strongest differentiation is our sharp focus on one particular industry.
Hmm.
So there are lots of horizontal solutions in the market right now.
Hmm.
I think they are good for buzzword and all of that, marketing jazz that they do. Problem is that they solve the problem only superficially, and that's the reason why only 1 out of 4 AI solutions go beyond POC in enterprises. Only 1 out of 4, which 3 stay at POC level, because when you're doing something horizontally, you're not going deep. Our differentiation is that we're going really, really deep in one particular industry.
Hmm.
We understand the language over there. When we go and meet the clients, they say, okay, you're speaking the same words that we do.
Hmm.
And you've already identified the next level problem to solve within this.
Hmm.
So that's a strong differentiation. What keeps me awake or the, I think, execution capability. We are a completely people business. Of course, there is all the, tech infrastructure, etc. is required, but all of that also comes from people. We are a highly people driven business. So what we need to do is build depth of capability within the team so that we can execute the vision that we have. So making sure our team is onboarded, is aligned, is pulling in the same direction. That to me is the biggest issue that I have to be on top of.
It is such an interesting juxtaposition. Everybody's talking about how AI will take people away, and you're an AI company and saying, I'm a people business. I focus on people. I love this
Yeah,
juxtaposition. And if I go a little bit deeper into the product suite that you have, there is, from my understanding of it, it is mostly products that are used to help coach and enable people who are at the front end of a large organization. Um,
yeah.
what 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 do you prefer more? Is it more about creating deeply customized solutions, or is it about creating platforms that help an industry specifically?
So we're building productized solutions. So what that means is that there is a suite of modules and capabilities that we have developed and to an extent productized. But because we work only with large enterprises, we need to build a layer of solutioning on top of each of these in order to fit in with the workflows and make sure the ROI is established after this is done. So as I said, it's not just a plug and play product. We don't want to be in that space. There are enough players out there who are trying to build a SaaS plug and play solution. We
Hmm.
are saying that we're gonna make sure the prototype solutions we have actually solve the problems of large enterprises, and if
Hmm.
that requires a degree of implementation and solutioning to be done by us, it only makes our use case stronger.
Yeah. So almost like an SAP or an Oracle if I was to make a
Yes,
company.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. And which tools or approaches will give you disproportionately high leverage in your mind?
So I think there's a one thing that we need to. It's a part of our job also when we go out in the market is AI is not
Hmm.
a one size fits all magic potion. So
Absolutely.
there's a lot of work that is required to make AI work. Of course, there are some tools which help. We internally use AI for coding also. So our
Mhm.
engineers now, one good engineer can do the work of 10 regular
Yeah.
engineers these days using AI.
Yeah.
So those kinds of tools are really good for us to make ourselves more efficient. But when we go out to deploy on the client side, we have to make sure that we build enough layers of proprietary tech stack on top to make AI work for them. So I think from the perspective of which tools make us more effective, it is some of these tools like Cursor, etc., which help us code faster. But when we go from the client perspective, I would say there is no single AI which can say that, okay, I can solve clients' multiple problems. It's the proprietary tech stacks that we have to build on top to make it work.
And given that you have had such a deep experience with AI even before it became the buzzword, what are some of the things that you wish someone would build?
Someone would build today. I think be really deep in one particular domain. Often a problem with young entrepreneurs, and also often a problem with corporate senior managers who retire and think they're going to start something on their own, is that they think they'll build something grand.
Yeah.
Um, Young, fresh entrepreneurs say this out of innocence because they don't know. Corporate leaders who want to become entrepreneurs say this out of hubris because they think they can.
Yeah. Because they think that nobody else has done it.
Yeah. But the reality is that you got to start small, and you got to start deep in one particular domain. Really understand the problems of that and start solving the problems of one particular area within that step by step. Once you do that, then you start replicating from there onwards. Whoever I talk to, and sometimes I have these mentorship sessions with some of these young entrepreneurs, I always say, figure out that really one small part of the problem, go deep in that and build for it. And within that, you don't build a solution around AI. Find the problem, find the solution, and if AI can help in solving it, then AI is one part of the solution. This whole AI first nonsense is, I think, very dangerous for startups to start focusing on that. Solve a problem, AI is a tool within that.
Yeah. I was talking to someone who is building a product or is actually giving a service right now. And they were thinking of raising funds and they were thinking of taking it national. And her response or her first thought was, how can I plug in AI into this? Like, what?
Why would you do that?
The whole point of your business is that, you can customize and you can make it
Yeah.
so specific to someone, and then you would bring AI and what? The two words don't match. But in any case, that's where we are. If I was to now take you to, you also did raise funds at some point, even though in Eligare you had by the time you had learned your lessons. But what were some missteps? What was something that you were never expecting that happened? Just share your experience.
Yeah. So I think just like there are good entrepreneurs and bad entrepreneurs, there are good investors and bad investors. So you got to be very careful of who you raise the money from.
Hmm.
Anyone who's a Excel sheet warrior, or who only has finance experience, but who has not built a company on their own, or at least has real world experience of running businesses, the nuts and bolts of businesses,
Hmm.
I would stay away from them. And the filter that I now apply is this: I look at the investor and think, if that investor were to start a company, would I invest in him or her?
Yeah.
And if I have any doubt, then I would not raise money from that person, because someone who can't be a good entrepreneur can never be a good investor either, or
Yeah.
early stage investor. Late stage investors, PE, etc., that's a different story. That's a
Yeah.
fine. But the early stage investor needs to really understand how an early stage business is to be built.
Yeah. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think you will also agree with the fact that when you are the early stage venture, you probably will not see it with this lens, or you will not have the understanding to realize whether this person is
Yeah.
bankable or
So
not.
I agree. I did not have this understanding earlier. Now I have. So this is experience speaking.
Yeah. Yeah. But how does someone who's actually an early stage founder right now and is
Mm,
looking desperately for funds,
mm,
what filter can they apply? Like they will not have this
mm,
understanding, right? They would just simply not
mm.
be able to get it.
Yeah. I think I would put it differently then for them. First of
Hmm.
all, try to don't just go out for funding based solely on idea,
Hmm.
because then you will, if you are at if your business is not solid, you will not get solid investors either, right?
Hmm.
At least create some traction, have some use cases in hand, have some customer stories in hand.
Hmm.
Once you have that, and then at that point in time, you will attract also good quality capital.
Yeah.
So often at times there is this, I think that's changed a little bit. There was a hype at one point in time where every Tom, Dick and Harry with some idea was going out and raising funds.
Yeah.
And that's where all this, the really ugly ecosystem of early stage investments got developed.
Hmm.
Um, Now I think a little bit maturity is coming in. Talk to other entrepreneurs. If you are talking to an investor, find out who that investor has invested in the past and talk to those people. You'll be
Yeah.
surprised how much insight you will get from them.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
it can be really bad trap. There are some investors who make some potentially very good businesses go bankrupt
Hmm.
because they are pushing them to do the wrong things. So
Yeah.
it's, yes.
Yeah. I think that's a really good takeaway to take, that don't just talk to investors, talk to founders also. Like, go prepared when you're talking to someone. Where do you see, if I go back to Eligare now, what happens here? I mean, there is no investor, there is clearly a lot of potential. What's the ideal state in 5 years down the line?
Yeah, so I think we've reached a stage where now we've got more work that we can manage on our own. So this year, what has happened in Gen AI, last year Gen AI became a buzzword. This year earlier, it became a boardroom discussion, and now
Hmm.
it has become a boardroom decision. So the lot of work has come to us, especially when we started focusing on one or two specific domains. Now we need to be able to execute on this pipeline of work that we have.
Hmm.
So we are now restarting on our journey of investment again. There are
Okay.
some people who were on my board because they had invested in my previous company. So they have already committed to coming into this round.
Hmm.
And just about now, last week onwards, we're starting to go on the journey of the next fundraise. So where do we want to see this company? This company, Eligare, our vision is that Eligare will be the dominant AI solution provider to automotive and industrial manufacturing companies. Within that, as I said, frontline team sales and services. So that vision is very clear, and we're going to be the dominant player
Hmm.
internationally.
Okay. And if I was to now look at your other interests, you're also a TIE charter member. What about that community kind of interested you, and how does that role influence your work?
Hmm. So when you're in a corporate, right? So you have colleagues, your peers, and you can talk to them. That you can discuss things with them. You also have a boss if you want to raise a issue or have some guidance. You can
Yeah.
ask them, right? So there's a whole structure to support you. But as an entrepreneur, it's a lonely journey. There is really no one that you can speak with. So
Yes.
the Indus Entrepreneur is a really good platform for that because it's a group of entrepreneurs who are at different levels of their evolution journey. So
Hmm.
you find people who've already made it in life and they are now capitalizing on that in different ways, whether
Hmm.
through, social initiatives or being as investors or mentors, etc., etc. And then there are people who are the early stage, but the get-togethers of TIE provide a fantastic platform, a non-pressure social platform where you can speak with them, engage with them, and learn from them.
Hmm. Yeah. So essentially creating a community for yourself
Yeah.
outside, in the absence of a work community.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I think we touched upon this question a little bit, but I would double click on it because I was still looking for an answer, which is to say that even within the industry that you're looking at right now, which is manufacturing and automotive, if there was ever a solution that you are not building, but you would want built, could be AI specific, but otherwise, what would that be?
I think there are a couple of solutions out there, but I mean, for example, some of these ERP solutions or the DMS solutions that are out there that the automotive is using, the dealer management system solution, they are archaic and they're extremely clunky and difficult. There is an opportunity for someone to build lightweight and probably AI powered DMS solutions, dealer management solutions,
Hmm.
uh, which can uh, which can make the life of the field team members so much easier. By field team, I mean the people at the dealerships.
Hmm.
Their biggest pain point right now, I think, is not dealing with customers, dealing with the systems
Yeah.
at the dealerships.
Yeah.
So if someone can build those, I mean, we could take up that challenge, but it's a difficult challenge. Not a difficult. I think it's a complex challenge to take up. And
Yeah.
for that, what you would need is to focus only on this problem, not the other problem. So if someone wants to pick up specifically this problem and solve it, I think
Hmm.
that would be a good problem to solve.
And because we're talking about AI, we also have to talk
Mm.
about ethics just a little bit.
Yeah.
What is your feeling on it about governance, risk, ethics? How do you feel about that?
Look, so our data is already now public property, whether
Hmm.
AI came into play or not. We use social media and whatever else we are doing online, giving accesses everywhere. Our data is already there out there. Now it's a matter of uh, within the world, now specifically within the world of AI, how much can be controlled? I think it
Hmm.
depends on use case to use case. So if your use cases are built around not so sensitive personal information.
Hmm.
For example, maybe I don't know, you are Canva, for example. Like Canva, you're using it for creative work. It's not that sensitive
Yeah.
information. But if your use case is on enterprise deployments, then it's a completely different level of governance that is required. So you have to figure out what level of within that also. If you're working in Europe, for example, the deployments are so much stricter. The requirements are so much stricter compared to some other geographies. So it's a use case to use case thing. I believe.
And the last thing that I wanted to ask you first was what keeps you grounded under all of these moving parts, other than the sports?
Yeah.
What do you tell yourself when the day has highs and lows?
There are I've been through so many cycles of ups and downs in entrepreneurship, and I'm reminded of that. In the during the Roman times, when a Roman general would come back from battle, whether after winning or losing, there would be a man standing next to him, whispering in his ears, and that would be, "This too shall pass." So whether it is victory or loss, each day there are so many. You're waiting for one call to come, that call doesn't come, or some
Yeah,
negative response comes, and you're like completely at the bottom of the ocean. And next
yeah,
day, some other client calls up and makes your day, you're still again at the top. These
yeah.
cycles keep happening. Sometimes you lose good people, but then there's an opportunity to somehow then reinvent yourself and have something else come up. So I think as long as you don't give up, there is always a way forward.
That's a good place
Yeah.
for us to end, I think. Thank you so much. Thank
Yeah.
you for your time. It was very, very nice speaking to you. And I think you showcase a version of entrepreneurship where things have gone bad, things have gone great, and yet you have come out successful at the other end. And I think that's a story that a lot of people should hear. So thank you.
You. Lovely talking to you, and pleasure. Let's see how this goes. It's a fun journey.
Yeah, it is.